And now, if you would, let me introduce you to my world record lake trout. Hey folks, do me a favor, practice CPR, catch, photo, and release. The future of fishing is truly in your hands.
The summer sun never sets upon the Alaskan pike of the Yukon, in the heart of breathtaking Alaska. Evenings will be shared reliving the battles of monster pike. The Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Hunt is on, aboard the 67-foot luxury houseboat, and you're in command. If you're not, you should be. Contact the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures by calling 800-440-7453 or email them at mstpa50@gmail.com.
Hi everybody, we got a show for you tonight. I have been waiting all season long to do this show. Why? Well, because it's good, really good. And I have a very kind relationship with these folks. I had an opportunity to go fish this area, and let me tell you, if you have ever dreamt of giant pike, this is where you want to at least take a look at. At least take a look at this. I would love to put a group together to go back up here again. This is one of the most amazing places on the planet. Before we get into that, though, I do want to tell you that phone lines are going to be full tonight. We have guests on our phone lines lined up, so you won't be able to get online tonight, on the phone anyway. You will be able to go online, and we will try to relate your questions, comments, and everything to our guests that we got coming on the show. This is going to be a great show, folks. I'm telling you, the people we've got lined up for you and what you're about to see tonight is insane. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I am going to start it off right now by bringing on release giant northern pike with Scott Rowe. Scott, got you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here, Bob.
Hi, how you doing, Scott?
Great. Nice talking to you, Bob.
Now, you just finished up your season. Are you now in Colorado? Are you still in Alaska?
I live year-round in Alaska now. I'm down in Girdwood, Alaska, about 45 miles south of Anchorage. It's a little ski town.
Oh, so we're going to do a little skiing, are we, huh?
Yep. That's what we do in the wintertime.
All right, let's have a little fun here. Why don't let's start off. You know, one of the biggest mysteries I run across when I'm talking to anglers at sports shows all over the country, when we talk about these exotic locations and we talk about the amenities, the nuances, the different details that they didn't know. Let's start with, how are they going to get to the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures?
Well, in the last year, we actually went through a little bit of a change. So we've moved our base of operations from Aniak, Alaska, to Anchorage now. And so basically you fly into Anchorage the night before your trip, and the next morning you take off on a charter right from Ted Stevens Airport and fly into a village that's nearest to the houseboat, depending on where the houseboat is up on the Yukon. Russian Mission, Grayling, Holy Cross, depends on where we're at. And you land there. It's about an hour-and-a-half flight. And then we pick you up in a boat, and we take you another hour-and-a-half into the middle of nowhere, and then we make a left, and there we are.
Let me tell you, that's a whole bunch different than when I was there.
Yeah. Times change, and, things happen, so you kind of have to roll with the punches, especially in Alaska, because things, change very quickly up here sometimes. And so, I think that this is a good, nice, stable way of doing it. I also think it's a little bit better because we can get a little bit better food choices, because we are in direct, getting our food directly from grocery stores in Anchorage. And then, in addition to that, if there are weather problems, you're not stuck in the middle of nowhere with, not much to bail you out. So here, now that we're based out of Anchorage, you're either on the boat or you're in Anchorage, and we're having a good time.
And that sounds really streamlined compared to what we did. I know we were one of the early groups to come in there with a broadcast crew, and we carried a lot of equipment with us. And I thought myself getting up there was a huge part of the adventure, and it seems like you've kept that intact. When it comes to rods, reels, and equipment, what are your anglers looking at? What do you prefer that they bring up there? I know rods can often be an issue, getting on planes and what have you. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I mean, it's ever changing, you know, and it is getting much more difficult, especially for one-piece rods to be transported all the way up to Alaska. So a lot of guys are sending me up their rods before their trip, and then I just send them out there with them. That's one way that we've been dealing with it. You know, 7-foot rods are pretty common for us, you know, medium heavy, kind of a spoon rod, you know. Then we also go with for bait casters, we also move with some heavier musky sticks, you know, for big spinner baits. And then we also, you know, use a lot of fly rods for, you know, the more subtle and finesse tactics. We love our fly rods up here. And we're pushing around 10 weights right now, and anywhere from 7 foot, 11 inches, all the way to 9 foot.
So you definitely are crossing a lot of different fishing spectrums in terms of approach, presentation, technique, and equipment. That's really neat. If an angler were to come up there, let's just say hypothetically, an angler comes up there, they're a spinning fisherman or they're a bait casting fisherman, and they get this bug for fly rods. Do you have a fly rod or two on the boat that they can work with?
Oh, absolutely. We have, you know, all sorts of rods. We have everything for bait casters, spin fishing. I mean, if you lost all of your gear, I mean, say you flew up here and you lost your suitcase and you had no clothes, we could outfit you no problem just by flying you. You don't even have to go to no stores. We could fly you right into the houseboat and you'd have everything you need. Fly rods, I mean, absolutely. We have tons of fly rods, tons of bait casters, tons of spin rods, all sorts of good gear.
And that is so key, because if you traveled at all around the world, not to mention around the country, you realize that there's going to come a time when something's not going to make the trip with you. So that knowledge, just knowing that you folks have that and your trip isn't destroyed, it's not even set back, because with good equipment up there, they just get to the boat and away they go. Talk to me a little bit about the boat.
She's 67 feet. She's always getting some sort of a revamp and change on her. There are 3 estate rooms, 2 people per estate room. There's 2 bathrooms with on-demand hot water. There's a galley and seating for 6 in the living room area. Deck in the front, and then a covered deck on top of the boat. So if you want to eat, if it's nice weather, you can go upstairs and eat your dinners if you want to. It's a nice boat. The kitchen's just got revamped last year and it's got 5-burner stove, 2 ovens, convection microwave, everything. So she's in good shape. And yeah, we have about 3 skips that we use for the actual fishing, and those are about 18-footers with custom platforms on them. No hang-ups for, you know, as far as like cleats or anything on the boats, so that we make sure that there's no fly line or anything for your lures to get caught on, and little trolling motors up in the front. 75 horsepower Hondas on the back.
One of the things I found really admirable about your outfit when I was up there was the eco-friendliness of everything you're doing. And man, oh man, I take my hat off to you, because you're fishing the Yukon River off the Yukon, and for people who haven't been there, it's as pristine as you can possibly get. It's amazing. And for you guys to keep it intact and have that kind of conscious outlook to that, you know, that environment is really, really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, we take great pride in taking care of our fishery. We all have come from different areas, and seeing what happens to pressure as far as fishing to different areas around, you know, the nation. Especially, you know, all my guides coming from all over the place. And, you know, I came from a really hardcore catch and release background. So the one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to ruin this fishery, because it is pristine and it is beautiful and it's amazing. And the more that we take care of it, the longer it's going to last for us, you know. And through, you know, we kind of crop. You know, we kind of cycle through our fishing zones like you would with crops. You know, you fish a spot and then you move on to another spot, so you can give the fish adequate time to rest, and so they can get back to their natural movements. And through that, we've been able to actually increase the numbers of our catch rates. We're actually getting better at it, and we're actually, finding more areas and expanding our terrain and territory every single year.
Well, I know the guides that you have on the boat are incredibly talented. We're going to bring on one of them a little bit later in the show. And these guys demonstrate this ability to be able to hunt these fish. Now, when I was there, I had a chance to fish with Greg Beatrice, and we did things, I can tell you, he and I talked about that weren't being done. And I know some of that has transitioned into what you guys do today in terms of how you're looking for fish, where you're looking for fish. But it was limitless. It just seemed like no matter what we did, we could locate the type of fish we were looking for, and we were looking for big fish.
Yeah, they're big out there. They grow slow, but we got some nice hens up there. And one of the things that I've been very beneficial, and all my other guides have been, is a big benefit to them, is all of the wonderful fishing anglers that we've had up to the lodge that have helped us, learn new strategies and tactics. You, Greg Beatrice, I've gotten to learn from Pat Ellers, Barry Reynolds, just to name a couple. So I mean, yeah, it's a great lodge, and the fish are big, and the great thing about it is that it's just so big and expansive.
Speaking of Barry Reynolds, let's take just a second. I'm going to show the folks a piece. Now, Barry Reynolds, for those of you who don't know who Barry Reynolds is, Barry Reynolds' expertise is in fly fishing. His love is in fly fishing. And I've only met Barry a couple of times at various sports shows, but always just infatuated with the amount of detail he puts into fly fishing. It's probably no different than what we do when we chase big muskies, big pike on our conventional tackle, but he is awesome. Let's just take a peek at what we're talking about, because Barry Reynolds did a nice piece for you guys.
Great, sounds good.
I think the thing that keeps me coming back every year, I get to fish some of the most remote locations in the world for some of the biggest pike that swim in the waters. The pinnacle of fly fishing for northern pike, what we like to refer to as the holy grail of pike fly fishing, and that's to take a northern pike of over 50 inches on a fly. To me, there's nothing more exciting than to see a big pike, and you'll know it when you see one that's pushing that 50-inch mark. Come up and just hammer a fly. I mean, just absolutely hammer a fly, and then get them up the side of the boat, and you reach down and try and grab them by the tail, and it's like trying to grab the fat end of a baseball bat. That's when you know you've got a big pike. You look down their back, and they're this big across the back. But to me, the ultimate and the holy grail of fly fishing for northern pike is to stick a 50-incher. And I've been blessed. I'm now up over 30 pike, over the 50-inch mark. And the last 2 years have just been incredible for me. I've taken 11 over 50 inches in the last 2.5 years of chasing the big pike around on a fly.
Well, she's 51. She's just right in there.
I think she might be over 50.
Yeah, I do too. She's really big, guys.
51?
Yeah, I got
Look at the size of this,
this is
freaking
huge.
tank.
Huge. Got her?
Yep.
Got her good?
Yep.
This can be a huge fish. Huge, big fish, Barry. 54. She's 54 to the bottom.
Inches.
54 incher.
Oh,
She ate deep too.
good gracious. Might want to put the boys and girls inside because we're going to show you a monster. Look at that.
Look at this fish. Hang on to her, Barry. She's all yours.
I got her. Look at the size of this thing. Oh my.
Can you hold it there?
You get the part that can bite.
51.
51, Craig.
I'll push her against the side of the boat is what we need to do.
She's right at 50.
She's a big one, I'll guarantee you that. 23-inch girth. Is that like a smaller regurgitated fish laying there on that point?
Here he comes. Oh, there he is.
That's a good fish.
That's a horse.
Good fish. I'm going to back us up a little bit.
This is a horse.
That's a good one. us off there just a hair.
Yeah, he's coming right towards us.
Get her on a reel, huh? This big fish. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, that's a nicey.
Oh, they just blowing fish out of there.
I know, I'm trying to back up still a little bit too. She's pulling one way and I'm pulling the other, man. She's got about the same thrust as the 50 thrust Minn Kota.
Big fish, Greg.
Yeah, it is. Let her go that way, maybe she'll pull us. Tow us off here. She's headed the right direction.
But see, what's so funny is you throw at all these other fish,
Nothing.
and they won't move, and you throw it in front of another one, and they...
I'm telling you, these are fish that are digesting, don't you think? They come in here, so that's why some of those won't eat, and then maybe this one's been in here 2 or 3 days, you know. Perfect. She's staying off here now.
Yeah.
You want I should back over there by that tree?
Yeah, would you please?
That's a big, heavy fish. Do believe we better measure this one. What do you think?
Yeah.
Dum, dum. Hey. Oh, not this one. We're not going to measure.
Hey, they're not all supposed to come in the boat. That's what fishing's all about. But you just watched one of the masters there with a fly rod in his hand and giant pike. I'm telling you, Scott, you guys got a heck of a fishery up there. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. It's ruined me. I can't fish anywhere really anymore after that place.
I want to kind of put it in perspective for you, if I could, or for the audience, if I could. How many 50s did you guys have this year? Do you know?
This year we landed 16 50s, the biggest of which was 51 by 22.
16 fish over 50 inches. And Barry said he had how many?
Oh my Lord, I don't know how many Barry has. I mean, he's caught a lot of big fish.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm trying to make a correlation here between the muskie, which is a lot of what our audience chases, and the amount of time you have to spend to get a 50-inch fish, okay?
Okay.
I personally have 117-inch muskies over 50 inches. I only have 11 pike over 50 inches. So
yeah,
that really sets the benchmark for you in terms of what you have as far as the resource is concerned. It's amazing. It's just amazing. It's off the charts, to be honest with you.
It really is, and that's why I love it out there. It is something. It's just untouched, and it's pristine, and it really I am honest about it. It's ruined my fishing for everywhere else in the world. Like it, I mean, I've gotten to go down to Argentina and fish for Dorado. I mean, it's ruined me. I love that fishery so much. Yep. Went down to which is amazing, and it was so much fun, and what an experience. But I mean, the attacks and it's just an amazing fishery, and the fish are so clean and so they're just so real and natural, you know.
And you guys also have another fish up there. It's not as broadcast in the sense that it's not as marketed as much. It is the tarpon of the north. There's if anybody knows what I'm talking about, it's called a she-fish. And if you get your pike bite done or you're in the season that the she-fish are around, this is the most acrobatic thing that you could ever hook into. It literally flies like a tarpon. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, they're great fish. They're a ton of fun. When they're on, they're on, and especially on light tackle, they really get after it once you get some nice light tackle onto them too. So it's kind of a nice combo pack for us. You know, you got something that's real big, the big crusher that just destroys all of our tackle, and then you have a little bit more of the softer touch with the sheepfish, and yeah, heck, do they fight? And you know, they can really save a good day. You know, they can really put it to you.
Yeah, they can do more than put it to you, especially if you get onto a big one. Hey, let's talk about seasons just a little bit. When is the most opportune time? Or no, I don't want to say it that way. When is your in point and your out point for the season?
In point, well, for fishing-wise, when clients start to come is probably mid-June, okay? And in the end point is mid-September. So we push it through for, about 3.5 months, solid.
3.5 months of giant fishing, big fishing. Is there any portion of that season that a trophy angler would be more apt to focus on? In the muskie world, I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. In the muskie world, we have a tendency to use the Solinar tables, the moonlight, and the lack of moonlight for the muskie. The pike is much more a bright light creature. It's far more color orientated in terms of presentation. Do you find your windows are greatly expanded?
Yeah, they change through the season, but yeah, I mean, I don't really focus so much on the moon phases and things of that nature, but I definitely do concentrate on barometric pressure changes. I target that a lot. Temperature is a real big one for us, and another real big one for us as far as knowing and targeting the fish is the water levels, if they're coming up or coming down, and that changes our tactics as well. But I think that we have a very broad season, and you have good luck at any time of the season really to do well. It really matters on good weather and stable water levels. That's really the big deal for us. Typically in the early season, you're looking for that post-spawn sulk, that big feed that they get after they've spawned and sulked for a little while. If you hit that right, it's kind of the ice off up here, because it's impossible to fish for ice off up here, which most people, when they go to the Canadian lodges, that's really what they're looking for. But you can't really do that because it's a river and there's just giant ice chunks flying all over the place and everything is just flooded. So it's
plus
really
your
difficult.
The river goes open. It opens quicker anyway. It's just not navigable at that point. So
no, it's just impossible. You don't want to be. I've been out there, and you don't want to be out there.
How about the pink salmon run? How does that affect your fishery? Anything?
Yeah, we get some pink salmon for sure. In pink salmon years, we do have some really. They tend to feed up on them, and it's a good source as far as protein. So yeah, it definitely bulks them up quite a bit. If you have a really big push of water, you can get a lot of pink salmon coming in. The pink salmon aren't necessarily a really big problem as far as not the fish not trying to target, and because if you're sitting there bringing a little vibrate, well, let's not go that way. But if you're trying to, well, no, but it's something that I found that's kind of interesting. So whenever you get a big salmon run, right? They see a big salmon coming through, and then that's hard to mimic and beat a real fish that's swimming right in front of their face.
Yeah.
However, they are rather large. And it's hard for but the biggest fish will eat those salmon. But one tactic that I have learned throughout the years is if you use the baits that you would use for salmon fishing, the pike are actually kind of onto that. I don't know if it has something to do with vibrations or the same reason why salmon go after those baits. But yeah, I don't know, something to kind of think about.
You're going to get bit. Stay with me through the commercial. We'll be right back with more Alaska pike.
Sounds great.
Look at that. Oh, big fish.
Big fish. Is that over here?
That is a 50 fish. Folks, you're seeing it right now. My 100 just came in the net at Witch Bay Camp. Holy smokes, Rocky. He ate that thing. Bring her back. Oh, hold tight.
Hi everyone, Bob Mason over here. I've got a place, a very, very special place in my heart. It's Osborne Bay.
Food's been excellent. Randy did a great job guiding service.
Randy started taking us out when I was 10, and we've been catching big muskies ever since.
The accommodations here are fantastic.
Check out Century Lodge on Osborne Bay.
Come on, bring her back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Listen, we've got Scott Rowe on with us from the Midnight Sun up in Alaska. This is an interesting person. It's a very intriguing adventure. If you guys ring my doorbell, if you write me, email me, or call me, let's put together a group. Hey, I would love to go back to the Midnight Sun, to be honest with you. So get a hold of me. We'll put together a bunch of muskie hunters that want to challenge some of these big pike up there and have a little bit of fun. We had a viewer ask or comment the fact that they hold the fish slightly different than we do our muskies. Yes, they do, but here's why. These guys are mostly waiting for these fish, and it's very nice to hold those fish up like that. It doesn't hurt the fish. You get the fish up, get a nice stimulating photograph out of it, and that's the kind of thing that the angler really appreciates. Is that not the truth, Scott?
Yeah. I think that if, especially when you're landing those really big fish, it's really nice to be able to be in the water with them, just because they can thrash about. And we use hands for everything out there. Through different studies, we found that we do our best conservation by just managing with just our hands to take as little slime off as possible. And the other thing that I worry about a lot is because we handle a lot of fish. We can handle a lot of fish, and so it's best if they start to thrash about to just get them out of that boat and try it again.
Absolutely. Folks, we've had the number up every time we've had Scott talking here tonight, but you can get a hold of them at 1-800-440-PIKE. And I'm sure he's going to be more than happy to talk to you about the information that we've covered tonight on the show, what to bring, some of the information you need to know. It's all American travel in the sense that you're not fishing a foreign country to do this, which is kind of nice in and of itself. So that's, to me, I think that's really kind of cool. Scott, why don't you tell us just a little bit more about what you want to cover on tonight's show, because I really have gotten the chance to say what I want to say, and it is a must-do trip for serious fishermen.
Yeah, and the thing that's nice about it too is you can bring even an inexperienced angler, and they can still have success at our fishery. We have really good guides, and they're very fishy, and they know the fishery well, and we can get the job done. And the other thing is that not every day is amazing, but we do our best to put in a great effort, and we promise that we can do pretty much. We will work our tails off to get a nice big fish for you. That's what we strive for. That's what we are. We love big northern pike. We really like big northern pike.
And you have them. Hey, I'll tell you what. Go over to their website, folks. It's MSTPA.com. MSTPA.com. They have an exciting video back page. You can go in and take a look at some of the other fishing video clips that have been shot there. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. I'm going to say goodnight right now to Scott. I want to thank him for coming on the show, and then we're going to dump into a piece that I shot with Greg Beatrice, and as soon as we're done doing that, we're going to bring on one of Scott's guides, and we're going to get a guide's perspective. We're going to go in and let the guide talk to us about what they do. It's key to me. Scott, again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And before I say anything more, I want to thank you guys for supporting our show. Folks, for those of you who are watching right now, this little endeavor that we put on here called Fish and Sticks wouldn't exist without people's financial support. And Scott literally jumped on the chance to support what we're doing. And Scott and I had never talked before that conversation. My relationship had always been with Greg, and my hat's off to you, because it's people like you that bring this sport to the next level. I want to say thanks for being on the show, and thanks for supporting the show, Scott.
Oh, thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate it as well. I really do.
We will definitely get things put together, and if we have interest coming in from the show, we'll put a group together and come up there and challenge some of your pike. Maybe we can catch a 50-incher. What do you think?
I'm in. I'm really in. Can't wait to see you.
Okay, thanks again. Hey, have a safe holiday season, have sports show season, all of that, and God bless. And again, thanks for coming on the show.
You too.
I've been throwing every now and then. It's like my frustration bait.
Yeah.
Hook's been straightened with pliers. So unfortunately, when I see that scenario, I think, you know what? That bait should have failed 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was dumb enough to throw it back in there.
A lot of people don't realize that we don't always throw strictly a sponsored bait. Our sponsored baits are baits that we choose because they work well.
Right.
However, we choose to shoot an authentic show, which means we have to catch fish. We can't talk about something that doesn't come through the lens of our camera. Therefore, we have to take out a variety of lures and preach and practice what we preach, and that is being creative sometimes, you know, to get these fish.
You bet. Well, and you know, there's not a pike angler out there who hasn't fished somewhere for northerns that doesn't throw a Johnson spoon from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, scared one right up shallow. 2 of them. 2 fish there. That fish
one.
is on
You
it.
got that one. That's a big fish.
Got him. Not a bad fish.
Not a bad fish at all.
He was right in the grass.
Not a bad fish. I guess not. What's wrong with that?
That's a good fish.
Yeah.
We'll take him.
Yeah.
Come on here, big guy.
I'm out of your way.
Stay away from that jackpot, big guy.
No, I got a buckaboo on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a good fish.
Good fish, I guess.
Nice big fish. We're gonna run into that tree is what we're gonna do.
We're okay. We're okay. We're okay. Work your fish. That's a high 40s fish.
Oop.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. He's doing what he needs to do.
There you go.
You're okay.
You're
okay.
out of there.
Go ahead, work your fish. That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. You front-ended me.
Yeah, that's a good fish.
You want a picture of it?
Yeah. Let's get her up. Let's see if we can do this time. Oh, that's a nice heavy fish too, Bob.
That fish is pushing 50.
Yeah, it's a good fish. Come on, stay out of there, girl. Well, she's not hooked very good.
You don't think?
Yeah.
You got that single hook. She's in there good.
Those Johnson, they should be.
There's a lot of those fish right through here, though.
Yes, there is. Nice fish.
I watched that one when it ate. You got a big head.
See, now for me, this fish is hooked on the wrong side.
You want me to try to grab her?
Because I'm a righty. Yeah, why don't you? Let's not lose her.
Okay.
Let's not lose her. Because I grab with my right hand and use my tool in my left. And that could be ugly.
What do you mean, let's not lose her? What if I lose her, then you're going to be mad at me?
No.
Oh, I see here the deal. You want me to get cut up.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, it's a high 40.
Yeah, it is. It's a big fish.
Okay. You got your free spool?
It is now.
Okay. She's going to couple of runs.
Yep, she's not done. That's
Couple of runs are going to go here.
I call it the rule of 3.
The rule of 3?
Yeah.
And run 3 times?
There's 1.
Yeah.
She's getting tired though.
Yeah.
Go ahead, expend a little there. That's just fine.
Yeah, you ain't liking me.
That's just fine.
Okay.
She's hooked right for you to grab. There's 2.
There's 2. Yeah. Once I get a good shot on her, because I've got to go to the jaw. She's so big across the head.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
She's gonna go again here.
Yeah. There's 3. Let's see if this holds true.
You can tell their heads when they shake and their gills open up. They're about to go.
Yes, they are. They don't like to get that head stuck up vertically, do they?
No, you got to learn to keep them horizontal.
Yeah.
In the water. Yeah, it's a pretty nice fish.
Yeah, I think I was off. I think it's a little more than 45.
You think?
I think.
That one can't count.
No, that's okay. I saw her head come up and I thought, well, all right, you want to do this one more time? Go ahead. Might save Bob his fingers.
That one can't count. Yeah, my hand's not going in that mouth until it's perfectly ready.
Yeah, she's just too big to grab, isn't she?
Just about. She's gonna go again. What she is too heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to hurt her by trying to lift her. I want to bring her up as slow as I can. I almost had her by the jaw, but when they spin on you like that,
yeah, you got to, you know, for both angler and fish, the safest thing you can do is let go of that fish.
Yeah, just get away from them. Exactly.
I mean, we can do this 10 times.
Yeah, this fish is not going to be hurt.
And we're not going to hurt you or the fish.
There we go.
You got her? You going to need a hand with that tape? You got it.
I'll tape her once we get her back in the water.
Okay, that's a good idea. She wasn't coming unhooked, was she?
No. But now she is definitely free. You want to see your fish?
There you go. What a beauty.
What are you guessing?
49.
I'm guessing 48.
Let's see what we got.
Yeah, we're watching me 49. Go ahead.
I'm hoping for 5-0 to erase my casting errors.
Okay. I'll lay a tape on her here quick.
I'm going to stay on this side of the boat so you guys don't lean.
Good enough. Don't spin on me, baby. Don't spin on me. I'm gonna do her from the tail. It's easier. Here. Guess what?
What do we got?
47 and a quarter.
Well, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Actually about 47 and a half. Beautiful fish though.
Good heavy fish. What do you think that fish weighs?
It's definitely in good solid 20s. Good job.
Hi everyone, Bob here for Grant Rods. You know, musky fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.
There, on your left, you can almost see it. One of the most magnificent sights on the planet, Lake Athabasca nestled just below the 60th parallel. Lake Athabasca hasn't changed in nearly 1,000 years with its pristine shorelines, pure crystal clear water you can actually drink, and countless fish. Boy, has she got fish that is for everyone willing to travel to Otherside River Lodge. From the magnificent world-class northern pike that prowl these waters to the oldest and biggest lakers on the globe, Athabasca has it all. Otherside River Lodge caters to the true sportsman seeking an all-American plan guided package with 3 incredible meals a day and memories you won't find anywhere else. Records have been broken by guests at Otherside River Lodge in the past. You could be next. Book your dream trip of a lifetime to Otherside River Lodge, where fishing dreams do come true. Call Cliff or Stella toll-free at 1-877-922-0957. Well, I'll tell you, we take you guys into where there's some big fish. Listen, we're going to dial the phone right now, and we're going to get Wade Alexander on the phone, and we're going to talk about the guide side of it. It's important for people to understand the relationship between the guide and the business. So let's see if Wade picks up the phone for us. So he may be fishing. I think I might be fishing.
Hello?
Hey, Wade, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Folks, Wade Alexander is on the phone with us right now, coming to us all the way from Pennsylvania. Wade, glad to have you on the show. We've just had your boss Scott on the show for a little while there, and got a chance to talk about the pike fishing that's up there. And what I'd like to do with you is let you tell the viewers about your experiences with customers on the water. It's so key.
All right, thanks for having me on, Bob. Customers on the water. Well, it's really amazing that the progression throughout the week with clients. Like, the first day we just kind of go out and we'll just do a quick fish, and after they arrive, just everybody just wants to get out fishing. So that's kind of the day we kind of get to know each other, and just really want to get out there and hopefully catch some fish and work the kinks out, and any equipment that we need to deal with, or that's when we do it.
Do you find most of the anglers coming up these days is carrying the appropriate equipment for these big fish?
For the most part, and then some. We don't like to use snaps, because a lot of them are chintzy and kind of. We have a lot of failures whenever in the past we've used those, so we do direct tie, everything on, and I've never had a failure directly tying onto flies, spoons, spinners, any type of bait. It just works, and you don't have to worry about it. If the leader kinks, you just change it out real quick. And equipment wise, we have everything you'd need. A lot of guys bring their own. It's just kind of preference.
When the anglers get there, you say they're pretty excited. I know I've met fishing adventures with anticipation, and I know what it's like to be excited. And sometimes you actually have to calm people down and get a chance to do your job, which is to guide the fish. What are the key type areas you're looking for? How it's a river, so if we can, let's bring visually the river into the living room of our viewer that's watching right now, because it's a river not like when you think of the big rivers we have here, the Mississippi, the St. Croix, what have you. It's much, much different. Tell us a little bit about the Yukon River and what they're going to experience.
Depending where we are, sometimes we fish small little sloughs, sometimes very large lakes. But we, depending on the water levels and where we're traveling that day, depends a lot on, what we're going to be targeting. The river system's very dependent on water levels, where we're going to, how far we're going to have to travel to locate fish.
Does the boat move daily, or how does the boat negotiate the river?
The boat, we move depending on water levels. Well, if we have to travel around, we will, just depending on the season. Just to kind of, we really take care of, we don't overfish areas.
Correct.
We definitely travel to go, and that just makes for better fishing, the best possible fishing you can get. Those fish stay wild, and they do what they're supposed to in nature.
Yes. So you guys are fishing, obviously, dead-ended oxbows. That's probably one of your focus areas. Do you have areas where you have cricks and stuff coming in, other influences that you focus on?
Well, it's a delta, so it's all flooded. It's all floodplains of the Yukon.
Right.
Other creeks and stuff.
I guess what I'm saying is when we were there, when Greg and I fished, we ran into a few places where, and again, it goes back to your water level. The water levels were obviously set at one point when we were there, and I have no way to measure where they were, but we found ourselves, some of the areas that we go into the oxbows, we had a little bit of incoming water that, I don't know if it was rain precipitated that came in or what, but we had an influence in a couple of different places that gave us what I thought was a bit of an advantage.
I mean, you'll find runoff from places, and yeah, you'll go back in channels and find other, channels coming into, creating, rivers meeting kind of other rivers, and
the confluence,
areas and
the
stuff.
confluence of the two rivers, yeah.
Yeah.
You see a lot of water clarity difference there, or is it pretty much all the same?
No, there are definitely very clear areas, and then there's definitely, some very muddy areas and people do get scared of muddy water, but we catch a lot of giant fish in muddy water. You'll often find, and you'll pull into a channel and kind of find that area where water is kind of pushing in or draining out, where there's kind of a mud line, and oftentimes that's a good place it's something to keep your eye on.
They definitely stage up on those lines. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
In terms of lure selection, a guide is going to be the one that's going to be handling the fish most often, at least to the point where it's under control. The single hook lures or lesser hook lures would have an advantage to the guide, and they hook fish just fine. What's your opinion?
Everybody's kind of skeptical about, oh, you guys only use one hook. I think the hooking percentage is, I do a lot of muskie fishing also, and with 3 treble hooks on lures, I lose more fish muskie fishing than, pike. I think the hookup rates are excellent. And it's just better for the fish and for us handling them as well. We're fishing a lot of very shallow areas.
Right.
2 to 4 foot a lot of times. These lakes you'll pull in, they're often very shallow. We do some channel fishing, at certain times of year in certain spots that might be a little deeper, but when fish are active, they're pulled up, pretty shallow. If they're sulking on the bottom in a channel, they're probably not eating.
Yeah, they're just laying down on the bottom. We saw, I don't know if you've been following the show tonight on Facebook, but we saw a piece where Barry Reynolds was fly fishing. That seems to be a pretty exciting way to catch these fish. What do you think of that?
Oh, I love fly fishing. It definitely has its advantages whenever you are fishing in such shallow bays and stuff, instead of casting, heavy spinner baits or, gliders or, just bigger, heavier lures, creating more splashes and stuff. You can, there's often times to do some sight fishing, and you can kind of, take your time and get up to a fish that, you really want, and have a good presentation to that fish.
One of the things that I think is really important is the overall experience, the enjoyment you get out of a trip. And I don't want to get away from fishing. We're going to come back to it for a second, but the wildlife that's on the Yunoko is breathtaking. The amount of grizzly bears we saw, the amount of eagles we saw grizzlies down, literally fishing, pawing fish. You don't see that. You don't see that on Lake of the Woods. I'm sorry.
Right. Certainly a lot of black bears and moose, and yeah, a lot of waterfowl. Eagles had a lot of fox action this year.
Oh, really?
Everybody loves the foxes. Yeah, they just seem to scamper around everywhere. But yeah, certainly seeing huge bull moose and stuff, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Greg Beefus sent me when we were up there shooting. We came into this dead-ended oxbow, and there was a big pool in the center, and it had grass in the center of it. And in the center of the grass was this huge, huge bull moose, huge.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the grass is 10 feet tall. It's really, really deep. And I says to Greg, I says, man, that'd be good to get video of. Oh, yeah. Go get video. And I says, okay. My cameraman's looking at me going, nah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go get no video. I took the camera and put on the easy rig and the bug netting and everything, and I'm just starting to step off the boat to start trudging my way through the tall grass so I could get a vantage point to get this moose video. And Greg says to me, he says, that's a big moose, you know. And I says, well, yeah, how big? He says, the rack on that thing's probably 74 to 78 inches. And I said, well, that's kind of cool. He says, when you get over there close to it, he says, grunt. I says, do what? He says, grunt. And he's showing me how to grunt for this moose, right? Now he says, you'll get the head to come up and you'll get great video. So I crawl over the top of this hill and down the other side, and I'm over there and I'm grunting like crazy. And next thing I know, this big bull moose head comes up, and well, it started to come toward me. And I got a little bit of video, and I said, I'm out of here. I got back to the boat, and Greg says, did you actually grunt at that moose? And I said, yeah, why? He says, that's a rival call.
Sounds like something, yeah.
So he had me back in 8-foot tall grass with this big old moose, probably, I don't know, 2,000 pounds. It looked big as a horse to me anyway, but it was funny. But I just got a chuckle out of it. I still have that video someplace on a wall, on a shelf someplace. It was pretty cool. Walk me through, if you will, the best way to get an angler to choose the right equipment to come up there. And when I say that, let me explain what I'm saying. A lot of people will come to exotic places like this that aren't aware of what they're in for. And they'll go to their tackle shop and they'll say, hey, I'm going to go fish northern pike in Alaska. And the retailer at the tackle shop will look at the situation and say, yeah, pike in Alaska? Okay. And he or she has no idea what they're really in for. And because you guys deal with such huge fish, for the listener or the viewer that's going to listen and watch this tonight or listen to it in the post environment, what kind of word of advice can you give them in terms of acquiring the right equipment to come to your guys' boat on the Yunoko?
All right, so we use single hook barbless for it. It doesn't matter if you're throwing, a spoon or a spinner or a fly. So I'll start with like the fly rod. And you're gonna want something fairly heavy, a 9, 10, 11 weight. And then, just a heavy floating or, intermediate line. You don't need sinking, except for maybe very specific times, like maybe in the fall, but generally not sinking. As far as, spinning and bait casting go, you want to match your rod and reel setups to the baits you're going to be throwing. Obviously, we're not throwing, giant jerk baits, but we do throw, smaller jerk baits and gliders and spinners and spoons. So probably something that's rated for, half to 2 ounces, 1 ounce, something like that. Medium heavy to heavy. You don't need like a big broomstick musky rod necessarily, but but we do use heavy line. We use at least 65 pounds, braided lines.
Yep.
And as far as leaders go, we tie everything direct with 60-pound, either 1x7 or 7x7, and that's the most fail-safe way to do things. Because even the best snaps and stuff, when you catch the number of fish, and they can break, they can fail, and that's no fun losing a giant fish because something like that broke. But yeah, I generally like longer rods around the 7.5 to 8.5 foot lengths for figure eights, and just for fish taking you under the boat and stuff.
Are you catching these fish on figure eights much at the side of the boat?
Sometimes, yeah. You'll get those days where fish are they're not always on.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead, and you'll have to kind of finesse them in, and they'll come in on a fly, and you can dance it around and figure eight and get them to suck it in, or they'll come in on you and kind of drop back down, and you can just flick that spoon or a lizard or whatever you may be using at the time, and get them to eat. That's the fun part of it.
Do you guys recommend they bring waders? I know the fly fishermen should definitely bring waders, but do you recommend that the casters are also to bring waders?
I would recommend to bring waders to everyone, just because you never know what the weather's going to, or at least a good set of bibs, rain bibs, because the rain can turn on like that. We don't get great weather forecasts out there. It's just kind of,
it just rolls in.
You can get kind of the local area and get a good idea for the week of what's going to happen, but you never know. And when you catch a big fish, we'll generally not be that far away from an area you can kind of trolling motor out and up to the bank and kind of get out with that fish and pick it up and take some good shots with a nice background. And that way, if anything, like the fish squirms or anything, you don't have to take them up real far. And if they go, you can kind of just let them go and bring them back. And clients can also, get a good shot with them themselves after, we've got them measured and everything.
Exactly. I've got a video clip here. I want to show our listeners and our viewers. Hang on, don't go anywhere, Wade. We're going to catch up on this little piece right now. It's kind of fun as fishing with Greg Beatrice on the Midnight
Put a
Sun.
bait on that fish. I'm too far out. Look at that fish.
Hurry in. I don't want to move. Where'd you go?
It's right there, just barely going down. You might intersect him.
Now we're throwing small baits, very small baits here.
She got it. Yeah, she
got her. Big fish, really big fish, guys. Huge fish. This is bigger than the last one.
That's team fishing.
That's team fishing.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you.
That's awesome.
It really helps when you got somebody spotting for you, telling you the fish is eating.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna get ready to help you. I got my rod laying down.
Oh yeah, this is. I think we got a program down now. We just want to stay with it. Yeah.
When Greg and I shot this piece, Wade, we had on the show itself.
This is another really nice
we
fish.
could have had every fish over 47 inches if we wanted to.
I want to tell you something. This rod's got.
Yeah.
I mean, you can work these big fish. You can turn this fish.
That fish is green now, and I'm about.
Oh yeah, this fish isn't done.
All right, so this is the Greg Beatrice show.
Well, at the moment, I'm sure there's a lot more of this to come.
Oh man, this is awesome fishing though. This is huge fish. Oh, good grief. She's got it too. I'm gonna have to make sure I have an extractor out. Oh yes.
Yeah, you're gonna be digging on this one.
Yeah, I got a spreaders and extractor. We're ready to go.
One of the
You
things
know, it
I
doesn't get any better
noticed
than this
too when we were
can go
fishing
out
is the amount
as
of
a guy,
calm
not have to
weather was
spot fish,
amazing.
not have to handle fish. It's like being on vacation.
This is a nice fish too.
Yes, it is.
This ain't no pup. I think your other one's bigger though.
Do you?
Yeah, it's broader.
Yeah, she was a fatter.
This one's just as ornery though.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm going to say this fish is 45, 46. What do you think?
Now I'm going 7.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, I like the way you measure.
7.5 maybe. Look at that
Oh,
head.
you see her flare up?
That's no 45-inch fish, boss. Well, in the sense that it's over 45.5.
Right. Ah, come on here. Don't roll up now. That's a girl.
Now that I am absolutely soaking wet. Spunky fish.
She's made 3 or 4 pretty good runs here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take her here.
I just left the bail open. I'll leave it open till you let go. I ride my thumb on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Another nice big fish. Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, we got the grip on her.
I mean, I watched the fish inhale the bait.
Yeah, she ate it big time. There we go.
Pike dentistry at its best.
I'm going to show her to you real quick. Let me get her head wet.
And I think that's key too, keeping their eyes wet, keeping the fish wet.
Yeah, she might go away on me here.
Well, if she goes, she goes.
Because she's got me really good with the gill rakers.
Let me know if I can help you.
I'll show it to you real quick.
It's a nice big fish. Oh yeah, beautiful fish. That fish is longer than we think.
Yeah.
Let's get her in and measure her real quick.
Back in the water. I'll sit her back in the water and run a tape on it. Huh?
Let's do it.
These fish
You want
are
some help, or you got
so
it?
fat up there. It's
I got the tape for
unbelievable
you.
how
You got the
girthy
fish?
these
Get
fish
that
are.
down.
And they've got some shovel
I've got
heads,
some
boy.
serious gill rake on my hands.
Well, I hope I can return the favor for you shortly. That fish fought really hard.
This fish has got to be.
Yeah, she's bigger than I thought.
48.5, buddy.
I can do it twice.
Yep. I'm gonna get her revived, okay? Because this one spun up on my hand pretty good. 48.5.
Good deal.
Look at my hand.
Whew.
That's from her. When I was packing, I didn't pack my Lindy gloves. If I'd have brought my Lindy gloves, my fish handling gloves, I wouldn't be there right now. But you know something? We can live with that. I saw this thing at the side of the boat, and I go, man, you got to fish that fish.
She just sunk down, but when she came after
feel,
that.
See her power up?
Yep.
She's starting to get her body ready.
Yep.
And this fish is not going to go away hard. She fought you good.
She's gonna just.
She's
gonna
right.
go down to the bottom and think about this a little bit.
She's upright. She's perfectly fine. And that is a raspberry rash from that fish. When I had my hand on her and she starts to spin, you got to be so careful. I didn't want to drop the fish. I had good control of her. As long as she cut me up pretty good. This is going to wash off okay, but she cut me up pretty good. Folks, we'll be right back with more Simply Fishing. Greg Beatrice and I, we are on the Yukon River out of the Midnight Sun, his private houseboat here. Gorgeous facility. She's got to show me bigger fish to impress me, but the reality, is these are giant. Stop.
If you're not getting rashed pike fishing, you're not catching big pike. What do you say, Wade?
Oh yeah, usually early on I get a few licks, but you get smart pretty quick.
Well, maybe I don't. that was a case in point, and the reason I wanted to show that video was a case in point where we were sight fishing, and that is something that when the angler has an opportunity to see one of these gorillas going through the water, I mean, these are shovel head fish. These fish are huge. Greg and I worked a fish back in a corner one day that if it wasn't 54, 55 inches, it wasn't an inch. And if I were to put a weight on it, over 40 pounds. The thing was a monster, just a huge, huge fish. And I'm sure you guys have seen those kind of fish up there.
Yeah, you know, some days, you wish you wouldn't have, saw them if you missed them. You know what I mean? But
are you saying you get a little nightmare out of it?
yeah, those are the ones that'll haunt you. But no, it can be a lot of fun. It doesn't, sight fishing doesn't happen, every day certainly. But you get those times where, the sun's just right, or the fish are up, real high and shallow. That it can be a lot of fun.
You are certainly you are certainly one blessed individual, Wade, to be able to go up and experience this and put people on fish of a lifetime, dream fish. They'll take their pictures, their memories, they'll go back with them for life. I mean, that's a blessed soul you have, young man.
Oh, we all have a lot of fun and just love pike fishing. I think I can't even think of necessarily my favorite memory, but you just have all these great times out there fishing with these guys and just the giant fish, and
what is your greatest memory? Is it a lost fish or is it a caught fish?
No, I mean I guess I got to have my dad up a few years ago and guide him for a week, so probably just that whole week was just a dream come true.
Just spending it with your dad in that environment's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
just got to be crazy. What would you?
And just
go ahead.
Oh, just getting to meet so many different people, and they're. You still there, Bob?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, something was kind of beeping. We just so many exciting days that in the off season you kind of just think about it when you're driving around, and that kind of pushes you towards the next season.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
In closing this thing off tonight, give me just a few words that you want to pass on to the viewers. Get them wound up, get them to come up there. I know I've made a pledge here on the show tonight that we should get a group together, muskie fishermen who are so accustomed to chasing one fish or so a week. If you're really good at it, one big fish, come up there and have an opportunity for this. I've got a friend of mine, Kurt Fenton, who has caught big muskies with me all over the place, and Kurt just doesn't appreciate northern pike. So if anybody out there that does appreciate northern pike, give us a call. We'll go up there. We'll see Wade. We'll see Scott. We'll see all the folks up there on the Midnight Sun, and we'll see if we can catch a few fish. So sum it up for me, young man. Tell them what they need to know. Tell them what you want them to know. And I want to say thanks for coming on the show. So give them a couple of good words.
Experienced or inexperienced, if you are passionate about muskie fishing or pike fishing, is up there in Alaska on the Yukon drainages. It can be amazing. The number of large fish we got for this season, I don't know the numbers, but it's ridiculous. And the amount of experience you get actually, setting a hook on potentially so many fish. Some days are better than others, and certainly we have our tough days, but we try to always come home with one big fish for the day. It can be a grind, but it can also there's a lot of fun in between. That's why you're up there for a week.
And you got to remember.
I'm a muskie.
Go ahead.
I'm a muskie angler and a pike angler, and I love both, and I choose to be here. You know what I mean? That's what I'm really passionate about, is I like how we do things and how it's run, and
you got to remember that
just,
it's the land of the midnight sun. You have incredible daylight length. You have a great environment, a hospitable environment. People can sit and lounge after a long day of fishing, chew the fishing stories with the guides, the other people on the boat, and like you said, relive the day-to-day memories. I think that's what I take away from it almost as much as anything. I didn't catch the biggest fish of my life up there. I did see what I think was one of the biggest pikes of my life, but the truth of the matter is, it gets your blood stirring, period. I mean, it's just amazing. It just is.
Yeah, the houseboats is incredible, and just the remoteness of it. I don't know if there's a more remote place. You can, really, generally don't see any boats, and if they are, it's a native that lives out, somewhere in a little cabin or something that is just there, But there's no, there's just a lot of open water, and we never have to go to the same place twice. It's incredible.
That in and of itself is an awesome deal. Hey, Wade, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to thank you for all that you've done in terms of working with our show over the season. Let's stay in touch next year. If we don't get a chance to get up there, let's get some video footage, some current stuff, because this is an amazing fishery. And I think between you guys and what you're doing up there and bringing this to the common folk down here in the lower 48, I think it's amazing. That being said, God bless you, young man. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. I hope that our paths cross in the future, and we'll go share a cup of coffee. Folks, Wade Alexander from the Midnight Sun. Give him a big round of applause. Thanks, Wade. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks for having me on, Bob.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Yep. All right, bye.
With that being said, folks, remember we always like to get people to share what we're doing here in terms of helping us grow. And here's something that was brought to my attention. If you would email me, let me say it this way. One of the ways that I'm finding that we get growth is when we can share our show on other people's group pages, personal pages, or professional pages, whatever the pages happen to be. So if you would forward your name to me at FishnstixTV.com, that's Bob.m at FishnstixTV.com, and give us the permission to post our show on your page, I would be more than happy to do it. We've got about 8 people who have given us that permission. We've got some people who give us group permission. And it is really amazing that when you broadcast to those people, how much impact you get. So people are not going up and hitting the share button. So if you would give us your name, email it to me, Bob.m at FishnstixTV.com, and we will go ahead and do the work on our end of it to see to it that we get it on your page, and people following you on your page can watch new episodes of Fish and Sticks TV. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, letting us come into your living room, on your portable devices, wherever you're watching us around the world. And these are the people who make it possible for us. These are the people who are helping us survive these times and prosper.
The summer sun never sets upon the Alaskan pike of the Yukon, in the heart of breathtaking Alaska. Evenings will be shared reliving the battles of monster pike. The Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Hunt is on, aboard the 67-foot luxury houseboat, and you're in command. If you're not, you should be. Contact the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures by calling 800-440-7453 or email them at mstpa50@gmail.com.
Oh, look at that. Oh, big fish.
Big fish.
This side over here?
That is a 50 fish. Folks, you're seeing it right now. My 100 just came in the net. at Whitbay Camp.
Holy smokes, Rocky. She ate that thing.
Hi everyone, Bob.m here for Grant Rods. You know, musky fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.
Bring her back. Oh, just a minute. Hold tight. Hi everyone, Bob.m here. You know, I've got a place, a very, very special place in my heart. It's Osborne Bay.
It's been excellent. Randy did a great job guiding service.
Randy started taking us out when I was 10, and we've been catching big muskies ever
The
since.
accommodations here are fantastic.
Check out Century Lodge on Osborne Bay. Come on, bring her back.
There, on your left, you can almost see it. One of the most magnificent sights on the planet, Lake Athabasca nestled just below the 60th parallel. Lake Athabasca hasn't changed in nearly 1,000 years with its pristine shorelines, pure crystal clear water you can actually drink, and countless fish. Boy, has she got fish that is for everyone willing to travel to Otherside River Lodge. From the magnificent world-class northern pike that prowl these waters to the oldest and biggest lakers on the globe, Athabasca has it all. Otherside River Lodge caters to the true sportsman seeking an all-American plan guided package with 3 incredible meals a day and memories you won't find anywhere else. Records have been broken by guests at Otherside River Lodge in the past. You could be next. Book your dream trip of a lifetime to Otherside River Lodge, where fishing dreams do come true. Call Cliff or Stella toll-free at 1-877-922-0957.